Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where professionals and entrepreneurs publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. Today, we're talking podcasting, a cool subject. And I've got the founder and CEO of Blubrry.com with me, Todd Cochrane. Todd, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Todd, tell us a little bit about Blubrry.com and its unique spelling and exactly the type of folks that you serve and help.
Yeah, Blubrry Podcasting is a full-service podcast hosting company. We provide tools and services from individuals that are recording a podcast in their bedroom all the way up to corporate entities like ESPN and ABC. So we run the full gambit of companies that we serve through our products and services. And really our motto is something we call the Blubrry Way. It's about individuals building their brands on their own IP and controlling their stack and not being really controlled by a corporate entity anymore. But of course, businesses, that on the other hand, they want to build their brand, so we help them too.
So specifically for the segment of my audience who are new to podcasting and the thought of it, do you take them literally by the hand through the steps of going from nothing to having their own podcast? What specifically can you help them with?
Yeah, we have a full production team that if they need those hand-holding moments, we can get them from the concept to launch. And then, of course, that's, two pieces of our business. The service side of the business is largely self-serve. We do have a great customer support team, but really we help podcasters or those that are aspiring to be podcasters have the tools they need to really launch and get their show out there the right way in the beginning.
Yes. Now, speaking to those folks, the folks that know they should have a podcast out there, how do they get started when they know they have a podcast? They should have a podcast out there, but they haven't quite yet started yet. What are the steps for them to take to get one started?
Well, it's really, just like any other type of business venture, you got to determine what the goals of that show is going to be. And whether it's to drive leads or if it's to drive new customers coming in the door, or maybe trying to reach people that you're currently working with on existing products and services, it really runs the gambit. But really that first step is planning what the goal of that show is going to be. Then, if depending on, really your launch experience, or not a launch experience, but the experience you have, you can either self-serve your way through getting set up and launching, or you can use our production team to help you with that.
Please tell them, speak to my audience now that are business owners and professionals that they've heard of podcasting, but they're really in the dark about it. They're not even quite sure how it helps their businesses. Can you speak to them and tell them what the advantages are and how they can drive new business using podcasting?
Yeah, podcasting is unique in that people have chosen, number one, to listen to you. They just don't happen upon you and find you streaming someplace or on some internet radio station. They have folks that are listening to have specifically decided to listen to you for a reason. So the connection is much more tighter. And often when you're doing a podcast, and unlike radio where you're talking to a mass of people, you have to really think about that one-on-one discussion that you're having with that listener. And oftentimes maybe you've got a guest in, but still you have to keep in the back of your mind that you're really talking to an audience of one. And it's, one times how many ever people are listening. But the intimacy of podcasting is really where the value is. And that those folks have purposely listened to you. There's no other way they're going to find you without coming to your website, finding you on the App Store, wherever it may be, to be able to engage with you. So, that's a very valuable listener that has done that.
So in these unique times that we're living in now, you must have noticed some changes in the podcasting world. How has this pandemic affected podcasting and what have you seen out there in the market?
Well, of course, we've seen a huge explosion of companies coming on board doing shows. They're just looking, number one, to how to communicate with their workforce. Maybe they're not in the company spaces anymore and have the luxury of having stuff up on a VPN. So we see not only are public podcasts being used by companies to reach customers, but companies are also doing something kind of cool called private podcasting, where they're doing controlled access to media, where they're getting messages out or training or onboarding, that type of thing. And the beauty of it is they can access that content with a mobile phone that they have or their computer. They don't have to have any special equipment or have to go through a VPN to be able to access either secure or the public messaging that the company puts out.
So far, podcasting has been around such a long time. However, for a lot of folks, it's still a little confusing about how to access it. Like personally, me, I get them right on my Spotify, and I could pretty much find any podcast show that I want to
Sure.
tune into right there. How do most people find and discover podcasts, and how do they actually subscribe and listen to them?
Yeah, the number way right now to discover podcasts, believe it or not, is just the same way you discover websites off the through Google search. And it used to be that word of mouth was the way people discovered shows, where someone would say, "Hey, look at this podcast I'm listening to," and they would take their phone and subscribe them to a show. But really, with Google having implemented some very significant investment in making sure podcasts are rising top of search engines, discovery through Google Podcasts, or most folks that have a iPhone, there's a podcast app already built into the phone. And then for those that are on Android, uh, Google has made it real easy to add a podcast app as long as there's probably 20 other apps out there that you can use to listen to podcasts. But really, the discovery of shows now starts really with Google, and you can even use a public web app type of function to be able to listen to podcasts on your Android or even on your iPhone.
What's the state of podcasting as it relates to terrestrial radio now, especially like when people in their cars? How accessible are podcasts mobile now?
Well, that's the beauty. Podcasts have been accessible since we've had mobile devices, and we've been able to, people take, and that's the beauty of it. If you give people a choice beyond AM and FM, and even now you see with the big investment with iHeartRadio and them doing, they got 500 some dedicated shows across their entire radio network. I think radio has learned that there's a good marriage here in that they're using podcasts to fill some of the content they can't because of budget cuts. And then they're bringing talent sometimes on air, and it works both ways. We're seeing talent that are on air are also doing podcasts. So there's a good marriage right now for radio. But with connected cars and everything, I think you're going to continue to see more connectivity. And this is the reason why there's been huge investment. You look at Spotify, they spent $800 million just in technical acquisitions or talent acquisitions in the last couple of years. iHeart spent a bunch of money as well. So they see this digital future as a potential bridge as people move digital and off of terrestrial radio signals. Radio's not going anywhere anytime soon, but they're planning for the future.
Absolutely. Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself and your founding of blubrry.com. What inspired you to start it?
Really, I started a show on my own, was looking to make some money in this podcasting space. I found an advertiser, GoDaddy. GoDaddy came to me later and said, "Hey, we want to advertise more shows." And I thought, well, I know other shows. There was a business born from that. Actually, the founders of my company came from my audience. We built it from the base, started in 2005. We've been in business 15 years. We've got a team of about 20 now in Columbus, Ohio. We service over 100,000 podcasts globally. So really, it started as kind of an idea and built into something very cool. Self-funded, never took no venture, which was great. Gave us the ability to pivot where we thought we would need to pivot instead of being forced to go one way or the other, which a lot of companies that get venture don't get the choice to do. So we're still here and doing well.
Terrific. Todd, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that is important for you to share with our audience as it relates to podcasting?
Yeah, I think if you're a business owner or an individual, it doesn't matter if you're thinking about starting a show. But the real key factor is you got to have passion for it. If it's a topic that, let's say you're a business owner and you sell donuts, but yet your passion is, um, cigars or whatever it may be, whatever obscure topic it may be, do that topic, and that's where you're going to have a lot of success with. Business owners, yeah, you're going to want to talk about your business, but maybe you're going to want two shows because you've got something else you want to talk about. But really, it's about in having passion with an audience, just like any other type of creating media and getting people engaged.
That's really sage advice. I could totally see that right angle. Do your passion, get yourself out there, and then your business grows as a byproduct of that and growing that audience. Todd, for folks out there that are interested, business owners that want to connect with you, learn more about Blubrry, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, probably the best way just by email, Todd at Blubrry, BLUBRRY.com. We're also on all the social media platforms that just reach out to me and we'll get you connected with the right team member or I'll do a consultation with you. But really, this is what we do day in out. We serve podcasters globally and we help podcasters get their shows launched correctly And again, the term we use, the Blubrry way, which is really unique in the space and helping podcasters build their brands, not someone else's.
This has been fantastic, Todd. Fascinating topic, amazing technology, and for podcasting, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today. And I wish you continued success for you and for Blubrry and all of your clients.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where professionals and entrepreneurs publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. Join me on my next Expert Spotlight. For now, I'm Mark Imperial. Take care.